to start with our finals will really begin with the lipids. Even it's covered in midterm, but we will begin our discussions with the lipids and followed by nutritions and of course the metabolic processes involved. So we go now to lipids. When you say lipids, these are compounds which are related to insoluble in water, okay, but freely soluble in non-polar organic solvents like benzene, chloroform, ether, hot alcohols, and acetone. Usually when you say insoluble in water, mostly lipids are they are considered to be immiscible, I mean, in water. So if you try to mix water with lipids, so there is what we call the oil, I mean, are usually at the bottom. So the specific gravity of lipids or oil is lighter than water. So function, storage of energy, and it serves also a fuel in our body. Structural components of biomembranes, because the cell membranes are composed of bilayer of phospholipids, act as surfactants, okay, detergents, and even emulsifying agents. When you say emulsifying agents, these are agents which mix two different liquids or even solutions. So usually surfactants, usually these are agents also which protects the substances at the bottom or the surface of the specific area. Okay, so when we say surfactants, usually if you try to see the lungs or the lung tissue is surrounded by a lipids that act as a surfactant or protection so that the lungs will not collapse. So it is surrounded by a different form or types of lipids. Okay, we have also electric insulators, specifically the myelin or the myelin sheath. Okay, the one that insulates the axon. Okay, it is part of the neuronal cells. It gives shape and contour to the body because most of our body is also composed of lipids. Protections of the internal organs, even in the central nervous system. So help absorptions of the vitamin A or ADEC and improve taste and palatability of food. Okay, so sources of lipids, so there are a lot. So yung mga cakes, okay, even of course the fats that are found in mammals, okay, chocolates, ice creams, they are more of lipids. So classification of lipids, we have simple lipids, compound lipids, and derived lipids, and even lipid complex to other compound. So simple lipids, these are esters of fatty acids with various alcohols, meaning they contain alcohol or they contain OH in their structure. We have triacyl glycerol, triglycerides or neutral fat, and we have waxes. So glycerol, this is known to be the liquid, syrupy liquid obtained from animal fats and oils by the fermentation of glucose. So when you ferment glucose, so one product is also a glycerol. And waxes, so this is oily, greasy, heat-sensitive substance consisting of hydrocarbons and esters of fatty acids that are insoluble in water but soluble in non-polar organic solvents like benzene, chloroform, okay, and even acetic acid. Okay, so waxes, usually these are usually solid at room temperature. So we have here a syrupy liquid, your glycerol. So usually when you say waxes or big, this wax, use mga floor wax. So if you have heat that one or it exposed to higher temperature, it will melt. Next, we have compound lipids, phospholipids containing phosphoric acid. Based on their structure, we have nitrogen containing glycerophosphatides. So we have lecithin or phosphatidylcholine, cephalin, okay, phosphatidyletanolamine, phosphatidylserine. So cephalin, any group of phospholipids having hemostatic properties. So meaning hemostatic, it will cause a blood coagulation, okay, and found especially in nervous tissues, brain, and even spinal cord. So tawag na cephalin, cephalic, okay. So it is found in the brain or spinal cord. So this is the main structure of phosphatidylcholine, okay, and we have phosphatidyl etanolamine. So this is the etanolamine. So we have the amine group. 1 hexacanoyl, 2 19C12C octane dionyl, SN glycero 3 phosphoethylamine. So this is another form of lipid. So this is just example class. Okay. Next, we have phosphoglycerides. So phosphoglycerides or the cephalin are composed of the nonpolar fatty acids and dipolar. So when they say polar, this is more on water soluble, and nonpolar is insoluble in water. Okay? Usually mga nonpolar, the electrons are equally distributed, while polar, the electrons are not equally distributed. So lecithin, a lipid material composed of choline and inositol, is found in all living cells as a major component of cell membrane, which regulates nutrients entering and exiting the cells. So we know that cell membranes are barriers which what we call this one, protects or serve as barrier or entrance and even exit of different nutrients that enters and exit the cells. So any group of phospholipids found usually egg yolks, plasma membrane plant animals, so used in emulsify wide range of commercial products, yung mga cosmetics, paints, and plastics. Mga emulsifying agents, usually they mix different substances or two liquids that are mixed together. It needs an emulsifying agent. So one that is the lecithin, also called phosphodidyl choline. Okay, so there are a lot of commercially available. So ito yung gusto mo gamit yan sa mga food supplement. Okay, egg yolk, lecithin. Okay, usually ito yung when you take this one, usually it needs more, it added more energy to our body. Okay, phosphodidyl serine, a phospholipid containing serine that is important constituents of cell membrane and is localized preferentially in the inner surface of the plasma membrane. So usually it is used in cognitive impairment, depression symptoms, and overexertion. So overexercise, I mean. So overexercise, di ba, less palang luya kasi there are a lot of energy are being consumed by the body, and then it needs energy, it needs replenishment, I mean, of energy. So pwede i-take yung phosphodidyl choline, so that is 500 milligram complex. So this is known to be a herbal it is known to be a food supplement. Okay, so kung galing sa plant, that is herbal. So non-nitrogen phosphatides, we have phosphodidyl inositol, phosphodidyl glycerol, and diphosphadylserine, while plasmalogens having long chain alcohol. So meaning long chain alcohol, it contains propanol, butanol, pentanol, etc. So choline, plasmalogens, etanolamine. So we have phosphosphingosides, sphingosine, so sphingomyelin, so that is found in myelin sheath. So this is mostly present in the CNS. Okay, so these are the structure of phosphodidyl inositol. Okay, inositol is one, and we have phosphodidyl glycerol and phosphodidyl glycerol. So this is cardiolipin or diphosphodidyl glycerol. Okay, so dalawang di, mas mamaka di. So two phosphodidyl glycerol are being linked to each other. That's why yung tawag doon na diphosphodidyl glycerol, or known as cardiolipin or cardiolipin. So etanolamine, an amino acid alcohol formed by the decarboxylations of serine. So when we say decarboxylation, this is the removal of serine, it will form etanolamine based on that structure. So serine is known to be a amino acid, di ba? It is component of certain cephalins and phospholipids used in surfactant in pharmaceutic and called monoethanolamine. Okay, so we have sphingomyelin, a group of phospholipids that are found in nerve tissue yield upon hydrolysis of this sphingomyelin. It will yield sphingosine, choline, fatty acids, and phosphoric acid. Okay. Non-phosphorylated lipids, we have glycosphingosides, yung carbohydrates yan. Okay, so meaning these are lipids which contain carbohydrates. Cerebrosides, ceramide monohexosides, globosides, ceramide oligosaccharides, gangliosides. So usually mga ganglioside, this is found in the ganglia or ganglion. So when you say ganglion, that is a junction, okay, neuronal junctions, no, junctions between the postsynaptic cleft and then known to be the presynaptic cleft of the neuronal cells. So makita natin yung ganglion. So ceramide plus oligosaccharides plus N-acetylneurominic acid. So we have phospholipids, sulfatides. Of course, these are lipids which contain sulfate group, sulfated cerebrosides, globosides, and gangliosides. Okay? So these are example of the structure of ginatawag natin mga gangliosides. So cerebrosides, any of the various lipids compounds containing glucose or galactose and glucose and found in the brain of the nerve tissues. So pwede glucose or galactose, okay, or glucose. Globoside na naman, ito yung glycosphingolipids. So contains amino sugars, okay, itong mga glycoaminoglycans, remember. So this is hexosis of the accumulation in the Sandhoff's tissues, okay, Sandhoff's disease, okay. It is a conditions wherein there is a fat deposit in different tissues of the body, okay. So usually Sandhoff's can be genetic diseases, genetic disease. So gangliosides, any of a group of glycolipids that yield hexose on hydrolysis. So mga hexose, so fructose, glucose, mannose, okay, galactose are found especially in plasma membrane of cells and the gray matter. Okay, usually dito yun sa part ng vertebrae, di ba? Gray matter and the white matter, remember? Okay. Derived lipids, we have fatty acids, steroids, prostaglandins, leukotrienes, terpenes, and even dolichols. And lipid complex to other compounds with proteolipids and lipoproteins. So may proteoglycans are known to be yung mga proteins din, and then lipoproteins, the lipid plus proteins, okay, or fructose. Fatty acids are included in derived lipids. So most common of the lipids in the body, so aliphatic carboxylic acid. So aliphatic meaning they are straight chain, so not cyclic, okay. So they contain it does not contain any cyclic group or the alkene or even the heteroatoms or even the aromatic compounds. So usually alicyclic, not cyclic, ha. So general formula is RCOOH. So this is your carboxylic acid group. It's known to be the functional group. And your R depends upon, the hydrocarbon chain. So ano na siya kalaba, kung ano kahaba po yan. So depende yan, okay. So mga C16 palmitic acid and C18 stearic acid are most abundant in the body. So mga palmitic, so mostly yung hydrocarbon niya is 16. And C18 stearic, yung hydrocarbon chain is 18 man siya. So that is known to be the R group. Human body fat is 50% oleic acid, 25 palmitic, and 10% linoleic, and 5% stearic. Okay? The carbon fatty acids are numbered as C1, C2. So pwede ka mag-name ng structure coming from the carbon number 1 of COOH, and methyl group of, kung methyl group ka mag-name, that is omega 1, omega 2. So it is almost the same. Okay? So characteristic of common fatty acids, the even chain. So we have the even chain, so saturated fatty acids, yung acetic. So dalawa lang yung carbon atom, saturated, meaning saturated, it is it is composed of single bond only. Okay, there is no double bond. Butyric 4. So yung vinegar mo acetic, butter yung caproic and butyric. So caproic is 6, capric 10, coconut oil yung lauric myristic, okay, saturated small chain. Palmitic 16 body fat, stearic 16 and body fat. So you have arachidic 20 saturated long chain, peanut oil or arachis. So take note, palmitic, stearic are the body fats. So odd chain, it is composed of 3 carbon atoms. You have 1, we have the propionic acids, saturated odd chain, okay. So the even chain, so unsaturated, so even siya. So we have 16 ang palmitoleic. So monosaturated, unsaturated, meaning yung carbon number 7 niya doon ang double bond. Okay, oleic 18, so 9 ang double bond, body fat. Uric, we have unsaturated 9. So mustard oil, nervonic, linoleic. So, when you say 2 double bond class, meaning yung carbon number 6 and 9 yan, nandoon ang double bond niya. Yun ang present sa vegetable oil. So, like linolenic, so 18 na siya, 3 double bond, meaning sa carbon number 3 niya may double bond. Carbon number 6 and 9, so vegetable oils. Arachidonic, so 24 double bond, 6, 9, 12, 15, so that is found also in vegetable oils. You have timodonic, 20, thiocosapentanoic, fish oils, brain, docosapentanoic, and you have cerbonic, so fish oil and brain. So branch fatty acids naman class, we have isobaric acid branch, so metabolic acid, so methyl butanoic acid, 3-methyl butyric, or isopentanoic acid. So this is branded, branch I mean, not branded, sorry. Branch meaning there is what we call a functional group that is attached, and ang appearance yan parang branching siya. Okay? We have cerebronic 24 hydroxy acid, so brain lipids. You say saturated fatty acid class, this is aliphatic, not cyclic, monocarboxylic acid that form part of the lipids. So when you say monocarboxylic class, isa lang yung carboxylic acid niya na functional group, or known as the COOH, that is carboxylic acid. Okay? Derived from fats by hydrolysis process. When you say hydrolysis, you add water, so there is separation compound. No double bonds between the individual carbon atoms of the fatty acid chain. So general formula is CH3. So ito yung CH2 and N refers to the number of hydrocarbon chain. So kung pila man na siya kabilog, example, kung isa lang siya, so that is propionic. Kung apat, so butanoic na siya. Apat ito, so example, ang dito is apat. Okay? So kung apat siya, 4 plus 1 plus 6, sa hexanoic. Okay? So they are named by adding the anoic acid after hydrocarbon atom. So acetic and butyric I mean are important intermediates in different metabolism. Basta mga intermediaries class, meaning intermediaries, these are not the final product. These are products which needs 1 or 2 reactions to become the final product. So tawag doon intermediaries. So we have unsaturated fatty acids are named by adding suffix enoic after the systematic name. So similar to saturated fatty acids in the reaction of the carboxylic group, but also show properties due to the presence of double bond. Okay, mga unsaturated. Oh, parehas lang siya, mayroon sang COH, but yung mga unsaturated may double bond. Unlike saturated na walang double bond. Okay? Unsaturated exhibit geometrical isomerism at double bond, meaning pwede magkaroon ng isomerism doon or interchange ng position, okay, ng mga functional group. So tawag doon isomerism. Okay, all naturally occurring fatty acids have cis configuration. When you say cis class, meaning yung mga tawag dito, ang mga position ng mga functional groups or atoms are at the same position, okay, or at the same direction. Okay, so yung tawag doon, this is known to be your cis. Yung trans kasi opposite. Kung mga baka cis, pares-parehas lang yan. Cis, so ito pababa, ito pataas. Okay, align yan sila. Okay, trans siya, ganyan. Okay, so mayroon kung mga magsabay ka ng trans, so opposite yung hydrogen or the hydrogen atom or that attached to the double bond. Mambaka cis, same direction siya. Okay? Ito, same direction ito. Ito hindi. Ito sa taas, is yung isa pababa. Okay? So, polyunsaturated fatty acids exist in cis configuration. Okay? So, example ito, trans configuration of the linoleic. So, trans, nakita nyo naman ito, opposite ang hydrogen. Huwag hamba ka cis configuration of linoleic acid po. So, ganito po yung position niya. Okay? So, same yung position ng hydrogen atom. So, this is known to be yung tinatawag natin na isomerism. Isomer sila. So, same molecular formula but different structural formula. Meaning, makikita mo yung trans opposite. Mga baka cis, almost same. Okay? They are also called essential fatty acids because they cannot be synthesized by the body and have to be supplied in diet. Mga baka essential sila. So, meaning, hindi sila ina-produce ng lawas. So, they have to be supplied in diet. Yung mga linoleic acid. So, arachidonic acid. So, a unsaturated 20 hydrocarbon atom. Polyunsaturated, meaning damo. Essential fatty acids occurring in animals and formed by biosynthesis of linoleic. It is a precursors to leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and thromboxanes. So later we'll discuss this one. Ano yung mga leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and thromboxanes? So this is arachidonic acid. So synthesis of leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and thromboxanes follow this diagram. Okay, we are being depicted or described in this diagram. So membrane phospholipids, okay, usually interact with your with the phospholipase enzymes forming arachidonic acid. Okay? So, yung arachidonic acid class, so with the help of the enzyme 5-lipo-oxygenase, so undergone siya ng oxygenation process, it will form leukotrienes. Same as your cyclooxygenase, we have cyclooxygenase enzyme or COX-1 and COX-2. Okay? So, it will be converted to prostacyclin, o tawag natin na prostaglandin H2. Okay? And, of course, yung prostaglandin H2 class will also synthesize the thromboxane plus your prostaglandins. Okay? So, cyclooxygenase enzyme is needed, okay, when your arachidonic acid interacts with cyclooxygenase enzyme. So, both cyclooxygenase 1 and 2, so, or COX-1 and 2, so it will form prostaglandin H2, which lead to the formation of thromboxane and prostaglandins. Okay, so leukotrienes, so one of the class of powerful chemical agents synthesized from arachidonic acid by mast cells, basophils, macrophages, and various other types. Okay, usually, kung may mga allergens, usually, ang leukotrienes yun, isang example na trigger ng allergy. Okay, so usually, ito ay gina-synthesize, no? Coming from also from the mast cells. Involves inflammatory reactions of the immune response, so increased permeability of blood vessels, cause contraction of smooth muscles, attract neutrophils in the site of infections. So yun ang kasi magkaroon ng mga inflammations, usually leukotrienes are being released. Okay, so once na-release sila yung they try to attract neutrophils, okay, at the site of the infection. So magkaroon ng neutrophils doon. So it followed by inflammation. Kaya minsan may pilas ka, naghubag ang pilas mo kasi mayroon nang natawag natin na inflammations, which is triggered by leukotrienes also. So leukotrienes are coming from the body. Okay? So it is synthesized from phospholipids, from arachidonic acid. Okay? The prostaglandins, one of the group of hormone-like present in a variety of the tissues of the body. So we have uterus, brain, lungs, kidney, and semen. Okay, so it causes muscle contraction, dilation of blood vessels, mediators of inflammatory. So another prostaglandins are mediators of inflammatory processes or inflammations. Thromboxanes, compounds that are synthesized by the platelets, and this is a fats which involved in platelet aggregation, blood coagulations, which led to vasoconstriction or potent vasoconstrictor na sila ang mga thromboxanes. So if you have arachidonic acid, so take note dito mag-react siya sa phospholipase enzyme, it will form yung diba phospholipase enzyme reacts with your cell membrane or phospholipids, so it will form arachidonic acid. Okay, or tawag nga arachidonic or arachidonic acid. So usually COX-1 and COX-2 yun. Okay, so yung COX-1 mo, pwede siya mag-synthesize sa prostaglandins and thromboxanes. So ito inflammatory mediators. Thromboxanes, this is responsible for platelet aggregation of blood coagulations, which lead to vasoconstrictions. Kung vasoconstriction ka, pwede magkaroon ng hypertension yan. Kasi there is what we call narrowing of the blood vessels, which increase the blood pressure or the heart rate. And prostaglandins po yung sa COX-2. Usually, they bind with the different receptors. So, ito yung mag-cause ng physiological effects. So, vasoconstriction, inflammations, yan po ang tinatawag natin. Ang nag-trigger po niyan or nag-response yan whenever our bodies have example, magkaroon ka ng sobrang dami ng fats, di ba? Nagkaroon ka ng hypertension. So, sila yung mga mediators. Okay? Usually, they bind with the receptors. Next, yung platelet aggregators, take note class. Marami po yan, yung mga platelet activators natin. Aggregators, activators. You have thromboxane A2, adenosine diphosphate, epinephrine, thrombin, and collagen. Usually, yung arachidonic acid o arachidonic acid, okay? Kasi may dolang term yung arachidonic and then we have arachidonic, okay? So, aspirin, usually, arachidonic acid class, arachidonic acid, usually, di ba sila yung usually these are converted to prostaglandin or prostacyclin, may ganun na, prostaglandin or prostaglandin 2 with the help of cyclooxygenase enzyme. So, usually, this one, ang dalawa na ito ay pwede sila mag-synthesize ng thromboxane A2. Okay? Thromboxane A2 undergone the dehydrogenation process with the help of enzyme dehydrogenase. So, yung thromboxane B2 mo, pwede ma-convert into 11-dihydrothromboxane B2, which is also responsible for blood coagulation. So, matabo dyan, yung aspirin is given to the patients to block the conversion of arachidonic acid or arachidonic acid to prostaglandins or prostacyclins or prostaglandin 2. Kasi kung once nag-convert siya class, alam nyo po, ito po siya ay mag-synthesize ng thromboxane A2, undergoes the dehydrogenation process, and your thromboxane B2 also will be converted to 11-dihydrothromboxane B2, which is also known to be responsible of the blood coagulation, blood what we call this one, constriction, blood vessel constriction. So, tawag doon, followed by hypertension. Kaya, the patients, no, tayo po mga medical practitioners or the health practitioners, even the nurse, pharmacists, okay, doctors. So, that's why the doctor prescribed to the patient ng aspirin because nagkaroon na siya ng tinatawag natin na blood coagulations. And yung blood coagulation niya is responsible for hypertension. So, anong gagawin ng aspirin po doon pagpasok sa katawan ng tao? Siyempre, it will going to block or inhibit the conversion of arachidonic or arachidonic acid into prostaglandin 2 or prostacyclin or PGH2 or prostaglandin H2. So, kasi siya yung nag-synthesize ng thromboxane A2 which is responsible for platelet aggregation.